Barratt. I'm the artistic director of the National Youth Jazz Collective. And who?
Hello, and I'm Nick Brown. I'm the program manager of the National Youth Jazz Collective. Welcome to National Youth Jazz Wednesdays.
Woohoo! I love this time of the week where we all get together and have a good old rabbit and a natter. And as you quite rightly pointed out, this is now a year since we were first in lockdown. And so I thought it'd be really lovely to share the story of the last year and how we've been working together online. So happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, indeed. It's crazy to think what's happened over the last year. I don't think we would ever have put ourselves in this place. I think originally we were on for a 3-week lockdown, and here we are 12 months later. But that hasn't stopped us.
It hasn't. And when that lockdown, I was actually thinking, well, actually, I've got COVID, so I'll just carry on with being ill. By the time I shake it off, we'll all be back to normal again. And I've since had it twice. So, and we've been in lockdown for a year. But I don't know about you. I still, at the end of the day, feel like I've been places, I've met with people, I've had a fantastic time. And I sometimes have to remind myself that I actually haven't physically left this very spot.
This is very true. It feels like we've traveled. I think some days are more exhausting than the audition tour itself, with the amount that we're getting done and the people that we're seeing. And yeah, there's been so many new people that we've met through this online journey that we've all been on. And we can't wait even more to get to meet those very people in person. I don't know whether they'll recognize us though, because obviously they've only seen this part of us. So might have a few surprises that I'm 6'4", so that could be something.
I'm 5'2". Oh, what I thought would be really nice is to actually, first of all, talk about what we've been up to this week, because there've been lots of really lovely things that we've been doing and people we've been talking to and meeting with. And then the fact that we've been sharing all that we are, what is NYJC to people, and that lovely walk down memory lane that we have this time of year as we get ready for the summer school. And then we'll maybe go backwards a little bit to what were we doing a year ago, and did we expect a year on to be this used to and accomplished and versatile, and you know that the online would become such an integral part of not only how we're trying to carry the things on that we're already doing, but it's influenced us to shape the future of the programme. Bearing in mind it's our 15th birthday next year as well, so that's something we're very excited about working towards too. So this week we had the great pleasure of, on Monday, talking to our oldest hashtag National Youth Jazz, and the most celebrated, I think, of guests. So who were we talking to on Monday?
Monday we had the absolute pleasure of being joined by Pete Ind, the great bass player, and just to look at his CV and the people he's played with and the things that he's done for the jazz community, it's just absolutely extraordinary.
So we've, because he's 93, well, nearly 93, as he reminded us, we actually did a pre-recorded conversation because he just felt that an hour would be too long for him physically, mentally. So he's going to join us next week, and we've got a few young musicians joining us too, who'll be asking him a few questions. And he's going to run a quiz as well. He's going to run a quiz. So you must all tune in and make sure that you come and join the quiz. There are lots of amazing prizes for the answers to the quiz, but the main thing was that he just felt he couldn't speak for a whole hour, so we did that sort of historical looking back, talking about things. And I'd known Pete for quite a while through the bass clef, when he was running the bass clef club at the in Old Street, Hoxton, and so it was great to actually have the opportunity to talk to him because he's been such a great influence. What sort of things leapt out while we were talking? What leapt out that you
For
thought?
me, I think as a saxophone player, it was, oh yeah, I was just playing with Charlie Parker, or Bird as his nickname was. It's like, what? Just to hear someone who's been on that level, on that bandstand with someone of that caliber, and just to hear him say, the kind of mastery of musicians like that, and being able to, keep up with them and to play, and just to know how secure their kind of musicality was, just really, really, really amazing. And it just kind of puts into these, like, the way that Pete spoke about these people, it just put them on the kind of the same level as everyone else. We're all people, at the end of the day. And we might kind of idolize people like that because we've never come across their paths and we've studied so much of the history. But to actually hear it through kind of a first-hand encounter is very, very cool.
And also the fact that he's probably one of the very few living people now who actually played with Charlie Parker. Everyone else has passed. So to have that first-hand account, and Lester Young as well, Charlie Mingus, Billie Holiday. He played with Billie Holiday, but also he was the same age or just a couple of years older than the young people that we're working with on the summer school. And that really came to life during one of the conversations on this year's summer school when we were online. The nice thing about being online was I could drop into the sessions, and choose what I was going to, when I was going to drop into what without disturbing them. And so I caught sort of snippets from, instead of, physically walking from room to room, I could really grab snippets of conversation. And one of the things that came out was when Mark Hodgson was talking about rhythm section playing, and he was getting everybody to listen to some recordings and then getting them to actually talk about what was going on within that. How was the rhythm section interacting, really highlighting all the sort of who was influencing the change, who was responding to, who was then taking the lead. So like a shoal of fish. And one of the things he said was, how old do you think this bass player, after 20 minutes of listening to this piece and really dissecting, he said, how old do you think this bass player was? And they were 21, 19, something like that. So he'd very mindfully not only selected recordings of the best players, but the best players when they were nearest to the age of the youngsters that were there. And I thought that was mind-blowing, because we do, even I often see the middle-aged and elderly photos in my head when I'm listening to recordings. And so I think it's really important for people that are watching, when you listen to a recording, it's something that we're sometimes a little lazy with in the jazz world. A lot of the classical people that I talk to can tell you what the Kirkle numbers are and when the piece of music was recorded, when the piece of music was written. But I think it's really important that when we're listening to jazz recordings, that we don't just listen to what's on those recordings, but we really step back and contextualize and say, when was this recorded? How old were they? Who had they played with before? Who did they go on to play with? And then how does their playing evolve? Watch that evolution as well, because that's kind of mapping out the possibilities of your own journey. So Lester Young, I can't believe that. Lester Young and Charles Mingus, two of, and obviously Charlie Parker. But Lester Young, I just think his sound, and Charlie Parker is kind of his musical attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Love that, the hugeness of it all.
Definitely.
And then we were talking this very morning, we were talking to Ribble Valley, who this time last year, we were getting ready to go up, and I was going to be artist in residence. We got lots of different things that we're going to do live. And then obviously that got everything put on hold because the whole festival had to pause for a year. And then again, sadly, this year we can't go up again this year because we're still in lockdown. But they've come up with a fantastic solution for this year. And then last year's programme is going to be in Ribble Valley, which is in the first weekend of May. We'll be actually physically there 2022. But it's really nice that they've bridged that gap by now doing a virtual festival. So what did you glean from our conversation? What are they planning for that weekend?
I think they're planning just a whole weekend of all sorts of activities. So NYJC are going to be getting involved in presenting a couple of, I think, seminars for young people and a couple of workshops that people can get involved with, all free through their YouTube page. And it's looking really, really exciting. And I think there's a lot of physical music that will happen, which will be streamed, and then this opportunity to bring other people online to work with you and with NYJC too.
I think they were saying that it's like you basically watch it as if it's a television channel, so you don't have to keep going from one activity to the next. There'll just be a rolling program that you see, and that as you say, we're doing two activities. So one is where we're going to be talking about good practice for young musicians, which is the seminar we always do every summer school. And so what's really lovely about this time, we're going to be joined by two of the finalists of the Young BBC Jazz Musician of the Year. So we've got Ralph Porritt and we've got Alex Clark, who are going to be joining us. And they've been with NYJC for quite a while, so they're really excited about coming back and sort of sharing some of the things that they found really helpful on their own creative journeys. Now they're playing to such a high standard, so there's only so much NYJC can be engaged in. We're not there every day as they're practicing, so it's not just what did you do while we were working together, but what did you do in addition yourself, your own practice. How did you manage? Who did you study with? you know, were your aspirations, what are your aspirations, and who are we checking out, most importantly, and what were you doing with that checking out? So you can't just passively listen, but you need to put that listening into practice. So how did you put that into practice, and how can you see it now in your own playing? So that sort of investment of time. Then the second one, what they're doing is I'm joined again by two alumna, I think is the Latin plural of female. We're going to be joined by Jazz Kaiser, who's just moved back from America, and then also Rosie Turton, who was also was with us. I think she was with us 2010 originally, and Rosie's gone on to win Parliamentary Jazz Awards. Jazz has won various performance, especially in America, has won quite a few awards, and she was working a lot with Terry Lee Carrington, and they're going to come and talk to us about repertoire that women have written that, you know, we can actually play, because I think there's a real misrepresentation in the repertoire that people keep using. Lots of big bands go to Hal Leonard, so there's a very small number of sort of male composers and arrangers that are in their rostrum, and then a lot of the women that do play, they're not in the real book, they're not in any of the sort of anthologies of jazz standards. But we've been making a lot of effort over the last 5 years to build up a program of all female streamed compositions that work really nicely in small groups. And we always make sure that everything we do is 50-50, really committed to that. And that's partly signing up to Key Change. But they're going to be joining us to talk about, you know, having moved on and now touring a lot with their own projects. You know, what do they feel is their voice? How do they find their voice? Which women composers influenced and inspired them? And obviously we'll be sharing some of those tunes for people to take away and learn as well, which will be very exciting. And that's become quite a common theme of conversation recently, Nick. People that get in touch with me and ask me to take part in conversations about diversity. They say, you know, can you come and talk to us, and can you lead and can you chair? And I've noticed we've been talking about diversity quite a lot recently, and I've come to the conclusion that my own engagement is I don't want to be chairing something where we're talking about all diversity, because I feel I can represent firsthand what it's like to be a woman and how the things that have worked within, you know, really making sure that more women's music is played, that we have 50-50 tutors. We're seeing a lot more of the young female musicians come through. But then everything else I will be doing secondhand or from talking. And I think everyone should be represented by someone who is of that diversity, because that's the truest form, you know, of knowing how to move things forward. So today and over the last couple of months, I've actually said, when people have asked me to be involved in diversity conversations, yes, I'll come and talk to you about the sort of gender side of things, but you can't expect me to talk to you about all the other things, because otherwise your issues are just going to carry on. You need to talk firsthand all the time, and not just to one person either. Listen to, you know, talk to a community of people and bring them in to work with you. Don't always go to us as consultants. I'd rather we all go in and make some music than sit around a table and talk about why we're not making music together. It seems a no-brainer.
Definitely.
So here we are repairing and preparing for the audition tour. And we were due to do that over Easter. We do that every year. And we're not going to do it this year because of the roadmap. So you've been busily getting the schedule together, and we've repeatedly talked about that. So I think you've more or less sorted it out, and you wrote to everyone today, didn't you, to say...
Yes, everyone who's applied for the NYJC audition and for the summer school this year will receive an email about an hour ago, I think, from us now. We were on a Zoom call actually just as I sent them, and all the individual emails being sent out was quite a fun sound effect to our meeting that was going on as they were blinging away. But everyone should have had a bespoke email just detailing when their audition is. But we are still open for applications, which is the most important thing. For another month yet. So we've extended, as we've rescheduled the audition tool, it's given us a little bit more time to allow new applicants to apply. So the best place to go and find things out about the summer school is nationalyouthjazz.co.uk/summer-school. And on there you can find out all the information about what the summer school is, and also how to audition and how to book your audition, where we'll be visiting we've got 13 dates around the country, and I think it's about 10 cities because we're in a few times. And yeah, we're all the way up to Newcastle, all the way down to Exeter. We are really, really keen to come to get you to come and meet us, and we really want to meet you too.
And you've been working really hard on the marketing side of things. I think you said we saw that the traffic's gone up by 16% in a year, which is very impressive. It's nearly a
Yes,
fifth.
yeah.
Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been amazing. I think mainly down to being online, we've had to find other ways to reach people. NYJC always relies on um, the kind of the word of mouth, but this year we've had to really think about how we spread that message. And thank you to everyone who's been watching these live streams, who's been sharing our message. You've been a real big support to us in getting the message out to the young musicians who we would like to work with. So we really appreciate everything you've been doing to help us spread our message.
So I think you've found there's a general trend of, and you've got sort of a marketing strategy of which platform to use for which. What did you discover?
Yes, definitely. So Instagram, you might find our language on there is more for the young musicians who want to work with us. But then here on Facebook and on YouTube, where this will end up, we're more talking to adults, educators, and other organisations and partners. So here we might be saying something like, know of a young musician who might be able to, who might like to work with us. But Instagram, we're very much talking to the young musicians. So I mean, that it doesn't really matter where you are hearing our message. The message is very much the same, that we're looking for young musicians to work with and who will really suit us. So yeah, it's really great that we've got all these lovely channels and all these different followers of complete generations of professions, parents and non-parents alike.
So as we get ready for the summer school, I think it'd be lovely to remind ourselves. I'm really excited about what we're going to see when we get to Repton last week of August. If you're at all able to come and join us on the 28th, either online, because we will be live streaming it, or in person, 28th of August will be the concert, and it'll be the first concert that we'll have all done together in 2 years. So if you would join us and come and celebrate with us, that would be absolutely amazing. So Nick, remind us, we've got a lovely 2-minute video of what the summer school is. This, I think, was taken in Pocklington in 2018.
It was indeed. It was from our Pocklington summer school where I came on as an intern. So it's really great to see that that progression there. But this is a little 2-minute video just talking about what is the NYJ Summer School and what you can expect as a young musician.
When I turned up, I was like, wow, and I saw some of the faces that I know from BBC and that, and it's just
pretty scary at the beginning of the week.
Everyone here has been kind of surprisingly accepting.
NYJC is really inclusive, and when they employ world-class tutors to come on the summer school and everything.
I'd say that it's a really structured approach to learning jazz and really authentic, as it focuses on the oral training.
In my one-to-one lesson with Liam, it was it changed my whole perspective on it.
Getting all that attention to detail has really helped.
We all got set up and we just started playing, and it just felt amazing. There was a real click between everyone.
That experience with people who do what you want to do right now.
We were all learning how to blend and fit with each other within this context.
Each year on the courses they have some great names like Percy Purseglove this year and Nick Smart last year. And they've both just really kind of helped me come along in my jazz playing.
Their knowledge just kind of echoes through us, and it's really nice kind of atmosphere to be there.
I think the jamming in the evenings is so much fun, and it was so inclusive. Just everyone would get up and have a go and really get into it and play with people they wouldn't in their combos, and it was, yeah, it's just so much fun on the stage. Awesome. I hadn't expected it. It was just, I knew that this week was going to be so much fun, and it's really proven to be.
It's been just amazing. I just thoroughly enjoyed it.
Like, every time I come back, it's just reinforcing like past knowledge that's just growing every time I come back to NYJC.
Yay! And what's great is the fact that without anyone realising or knowing, it's kind of anticipating fast forward to 2020. We've got Alexandra Ridow there, who's playing trumpet. She became one of the BBC Young Jazz Musicians of the Year. And then we saw Asha playing tenor, and she was a semi-finalist this year. And then we saw Alex Clark, who was a finalist this year as well. So, you know, you never know where the journeys are going to go, and that's for me why we do it all, because we just want to facilitate and make it possible, and then leave the youngster to, in their own time, follow that journey that is truly authentic to them, and trying to make it so that nobody's dictating to them what we expect of them, but we're there to support, nurture, and facilitate. So this year was last year, rather, 2020 was a very different summer school, because having expected to be in Repton for our second year, suddenly it was becoming very clear that we were going to have to go online. And I don't think it's a misrepresentation of the situation when I say I was a little bit frustrated and reticent and not quite sure how I was going to make it work, and then realised, well, talk to people about it, let's work together as a team, because I'm very much a live person player. You know, I love audiences and I love venues, and I don't do much online, and I certainly didn't until this year. So it's been a real unfolding for us. It's been a real journey. Now all the things that we're doing are so second nature, but you know, go back to the summer school. So one of the sort of the highlights of that summer school festival, you chose one of the pieces by one of the groups, and wondering whether we might show and share, having heard what a live summer school sounds like, let's hear what an online summer school sounds like.
Yes, there was a piece recorded. I think it was a Van Morrison piece called "Help Me." Correct me if I am wrong. Or help me if I'm wrong, should I say. I'm just finding this amongst the screen as well. We are somewhere. Oh, perfect. I've got it. I've got so many windows open in the back. Usually I'm producing these live streams from the background, so it's a little bit different trying to do it at the same time. But this, I think Phoebe joined us a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember who we were interviewing at the time, but it was really nice to kind of reconnect, and that's kind of one of the things that we've been doing with all those participants from last year's summer school, and maybe the summer schools before, is bringing them onto these conversations, so there's an opportunity to talk them and continue them involved, because that's what we're about too, that kind of continued engagement with us. So we chose this song just because it kind of really, it's just the vibe of it and the groove of it, and just the kind of feeling of it is so representative of, I think, everything that we've done over the last 12 months.
What was really impressive for me was, first of all, you know, we all know the Van Morrison version really well, and it was of its own, you know, which is what we always expect the youngsters to achieve. That's how we work. But doing it online, you're never quite sure if that's possible, if you can have that same influence and impact. But I think from hearing the recording that you're going to play now, it's really clear that it's definitely of that group, and they came up with a lovely arrangement. We must send it to Van, actually. We could send it to the percussionist that plays with him, who often comes to work with us. We could send it to her, and she could forward it to him. I'm sure he'd be really glad to hear it, because it is very beautiful. Let's hear it.
you gotta help me, darling. I can't do it all by myself. And if you don't help me, I'll find someone else. Bring my nightshade, put on your morning gown. I want you to bring me my nightshade, put on your morning gown. Well, I don't feel tired, but I should feel like lying down. Help me.
Brilliant.
Woohoo!
I think
What
Tina's
beautiful memories.
I think Tina is actually watching. It was her choice of repertoire because I've got a notification. So Tina, if you're watching, great choice of tune, and we'd love to send it. So yeah, let's be in touch and we can share it. That'd be wonderful. So what I'm thinking is a lot of the things that we've done went online. A lot of the regional work that we did went online, and a lot of people like myself who were not that used to working online were going online. What was great are those places where people were actually in the same house could go online. And we had the great joy of being joined by Imogen Churchill and Nikki Isles, who are mother and daughter. And Imogen's been on the summer school. Nikki has taught on the summer school, and they came up with a great choice. Imogen sang a song with Nikki accompanying, which we're going to share in a moment. So, yeah, I wondered whether, let's share that now. Let's go straight into it. That'd be cool.
Here we go. Yeah, this one is up and ready.
Happened to pass your doorway, I gave you a buzz, that's all. Lately I thought lots about you, so I thought I'd pay a social call. Do you recall the old days? We used to have a ball. Not that I'm lonesome without you, I just thought I'd pay a social call. I'd lie and say that things are just swell, but to tell the truth, oh the truth, well I haven't been too well. And if you should try to kiss me, I wouldn't even stall. Maybe we'll get back together, starting with the incidental, simple social call. Baby, we played this game 1,000 million times. I should throw your heart in jail for all of its crimes. shoes. You said that you love me and I think that it's true, but why should I just sit at home waiting for you? When we're together, it's always stormy weather, and I really feel like sitting on a beach with you out of reach. Whenever you smirk, I get weak at the knees. But if you're a jerk, I'll tune out all of your pleas. Well, I suppose just one drink couldn't hurt, but just one, nothing more. I'm on to all of your tricks, boy. If you slip up, I'll show you the door. I must be crazy 'cause I'm coming around. So if you do me wrong, when you're out of this town, I guess that I could give you one more chance now to prove you're the man who can love me every day, never leave my side ever again. Hard-lying say, oh, that things are just swell. But to tell the truth, oh, the truth, well, I haven't been too well. And if you should try to kiss me, I wouldn't even stall. Maybe we'll get back together, starting with the incidental elemental simple social call.
Brilliant.
Such a lovely video.
And that's a day in the lives of, with them living in the same house. I think Imogen's gone on to study at Academy, is that right?
Yes, she is. She's in her first year now, I think, at the Royal Academy. So,
and then Scotty, who we were talking to last week, I think that they were doing quite a lot of work together because of him being a pianist, as well as playing with Emma, who's there. I think the whole year at the Academy this year is, apart from one person, is ex-NYJC. We found that you often see that they are like little shoals of fish. They meet on the summer school, and then if they've been offered a number of different places, you know, I remember one year Trinity were quite surprised by how many went to the Guildhall, and it was because of the relationships and the friendships. Just, you know, there's a disproportionate number sort of going to the Guildhall, but then the following year, you know, they were going to Trinity, and it all evens itself out in the end. But it's their friendships the most important thing. It's their journey, which is the really exciting thing. So how was it for you going from the summer school to studying jazz at a conservatoire? You went on to study at Birmingham. What was that transition like, going from NYJC into a conservatoire?
It worked really nicely, actually, for me, because as you've just said, you met people on NYJC, and you did that kind of really, I wouldn't say awkward, but that really difficult thing of presenting yourself and knowing people. And going, well, I mean, at that stage, leaving home and knowing someone who was already going to where you were going, that was a really important step. And I knew a couple of people who'd done NYJC and gone on to study at the Conservatoire in Birmingham. And it was just kind of peace of mind that's like, right, I'm going to get to like music college and I'm going to know some people, and I'm not going to have to kind of meet everyone from fresh. There's some people who can introduce me to other people, and that was really important for me, and just that security of leaving home, because it's a massive thing, going from living at home and having everything taken care of, and then to just becoming completely independent. So NYJC really helped in that kind of personal sense, but also in a professional sense of meeting young musicians who were like-minded and who were into the same thing, and to carry on those conversations and to know, right, what are you playing for your audition at conservatoire level and stuff, to have those conversations and to know what was expected. And then for those who are in the year above, so I did the short course in 2012 and the main summer school in 2013. So I met people on the short course that were going on to music college the next year or whatever, or in some kind of relationship. So I could go and visit them and just get a feel for what these places are. Because open days are cool. They're a good opportunity to go and find out about the courses and stuff, but to actually know what it's like as a student to be there, to go and visit these places, knowing people there who could show you around and give you a real taste for what it's like.
No, I didn't
That was really important.
That makes sense. But I know what you're the first person that's actually said that. You know, I met somebody and then they were a year above, so they were already at college. So then I went to visit them, and that gave me a really good insight. So, how many different places did you visit?
I've visited everywhere, to be honest. I think it was just in that madness of wanting, right, I want to go and study jazz, but don't know where that is. And then I just settled in Birmingham because something there just felt right for me. I knew a lot of people who'd come from there. I liked how they played, and I knew about the teachers and knew what kind of environment it was there through them, and thought, right, this is a place that I trust and want to go to. And I think I'd aspired to go there for about 5 years leading up to actually applying. And it was actually, I only applied for Birmingham. It was a complete kind of all your eggs in one basket, but I was really so keen to go there. I didn't apply for anywhere else.
And it paid off. You got first class and you had a great time there, and you stayed working there for a while with various other projects. Might you talk about the projects that you have been doing, and you're currently still doing one in Birmingham as well?
Yes. So I kind of started a relationship with Cheltenham Festivals through their Music 8 scheme in my 4th year while at Birmingham. So we're training primary school teachers up on how to deliver music education. So alongside us, we'd be delivering workshops in primary schools and also working alongside them. And then moved on from there. Well, never moved on from Cheltenham Festivals, actually. They're still in touch. I've got to do a little bit of work for them on Friday. But then kind of through that sparked this interest in education. And I then went and worked with the Birmingham Contemporary Music Group for 12 months on their learning trainee scheme, which was kind of 50% learning how an arts organisation works and 50% delivering workshops again. And then working on a citywide project called Four Wards, where we're composing music from around the city of Birmingham and seeing what the sounds make. And then moving on to the project I'm now still connected with up there, which is called the Birmingham Big Art Project. And it's all about a station clock. When a new train station is going to be built with the HS2 line, there's going to be a clock that goes off every hour with the voices of Birmingham singing a tone. So 1,092 voices in total, which is going to be really, really cool, I think.
And with that, you've also carried on playing the saxophone and composing, and you were gigging a lot for sort of functions with yourself, and you've chosen. Might you tell us a bit about what repertoire you chose, and sort of they took you to some really interesting places, and you sort of played to interesting collections of people?
Yes, so I would tour a lot with my quartet, which we'd write a lot of original music for. So obviously with COVID, that's been on hold, but then also a lot of function work, as an early career musician, that's where you can kind of find some sort of safety net, which is still creative and making music. So I always have a contract with English Heritage and get to go and play at their venue. So I was at Eltham Palace, which I'm sure I've got a little bit of a curse with there, because something always happens when I go there. I think there's some sort of ghost or something that
Well, funnily enough, when I was there 6 months ago or a year ago, one of the guides, as I was looking around, said that the woman, the wife of the guy that had built it and owned it, apparently she was very unpleasant to all of the staff, so that no one was there for longer than 3 weeks, and she would throw hairbrushes at them and all sorts of things, to the point that then when it got bombed in the war, that when the husband was trying to get builders to come and help rebuild it afterwards, they all said no, because their sisters, their wives, their daughters and so on had been so badly treated by her. And maybe it's the presence of the very unpleasant woman who's trapped there, and she's haunting everybody, anyone that's bringing joy to the region.
Maybe I'll rethink about the booking for this year then.
So if you see a hairbrush flying by. So one of the things that I just thought would be really nice to do is to talk about what we're going to do in the next few months, starting with what we're going to be doing with the hashtag National Youth Jazz Wednesdays, because it's a great tool as well. And you know, the things like applying for some of the specialist schools, applying for the conservatoires, thinking about early careers and when is the right time to talk to a record label, all of those types of things. So like we did over the actual festival itself during the summer school, where we had all the heads of department came to talk about their courses, and we had Michael Price and Olga talking about working in television, and the connection between jazz musicians and session players and television composers and so on. So over the next few weeks, we had also Sound of Music came in last week to talk about the summer school that we work on with them. So in the next few weeks, we've got a really nice collection. We've got Pete, obviously, on the 31st, which is next week, which is going to be fantastic. And then we're actually taking a 2-week break, because normally we'd be on audition tour, but because that's been moved, and we're going to be working a lot of weekends. I think, you know, after the intensity of this year as well, we deserve a 2-week holiday. So I'm looking forward to that. Have a nice holiday. And also tomorrow is your birthday.
It is indeed, yes.
How does it feel to have a lockdown birthday?
It feels I've had one already. I think I'm in that bracket where they announced the lockdown on the 23rd of March 2020, and obviously tomorrow's the 25th, and then we're still in a lockdown on the 25th this year. So I think I fall in kind of a 1-week bracket where you'll probably get 2 birthdays in lockdown. So I know how to do it. I know what we need to do. So
happy birthday for tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
You have a great day, and then obviously we'll have a lovely Easter holiday. When we get back, we've got the Purcell School and Cheatham's are coming to talk about the jazz scholarships and the jazz program that they run. It's been interesting to see. So when I set up the jazz course at Trinity College of Music in 1999, and then 7 years later was asked to set up NYJC. I did a big research project for the youth music in 2005. So that's sort of when we were 6 years old at Trinity, about if the youngsters are actually getting to do these lovely new conservatoire programs in jazz, how did they get to that jazz standard of playing when there was no provision for small group improvisation? So if you got in as an orchestral player, the likelihood would be that you'd gone to play in the National Youth Orchestra, that you'd played in regional youth orchestras, same for the choirs, same for the brass bands. But the thing in jazz is that it's a bit of an anomaly. Everyone's playing in big bands, but there are no big bands. The professional big band skills, hardly anyone plays in a big band. Really, the skills that everybody's using are small group improvisation. And so it's how did they get on? And then that led on to doing the summer school, the first summer school in 2007. And then after that, some of the music schools saw that with the development in education at the higher level, that then they would start some courses themselves that were scholarships, with NYJC also, taking the lead as well with that and working with us in partnership. That's been great. So there are actual scholarships now for you to go to a specialist music school. There have been for quite a while, but it seems to be, some people think we're a really well-kept secret, but these scholarships for jazz musicians at the specialist schools are even a more well-kept secret. So they're going to come and talk to us about, what they do on those programs. And we've had quite a few go through, especially to do the A-level, so the last 2 years of school, years 12 and 13. We've had some, though, go in at year 8, year 9, year 10, really very young. In fact, they probably were there already and then we met them. So that's going to happen when we get back on the 21st of April. Then the following Wednesday, so the 28th of April, we've got Ralph Porter. I think it's Ralph Porritt, actually. I think there's a wrong spelling of name on that. And Alex Clark are going to come and talk to us partly about their experience with the BBC Young Jazz Musician of the Year being finalists. But then, as you say, a few days later, on the 1st of May, we're going to be with Ribble Valley talking about good practice for young jazz musicians. So that's a really nice sort of warm-up gig, coming to talk here and then going there. And then also doing the new standards, which is talking about repertoire by women composers, sort of for beginner, intermediate, advanced. We're doing that on the 2nd of May. And then when we get back on the 5th of May, we've got the conservatoire, junior conservatoire programmes coming to talk to us about how you auditioned there. So Birmingham, the Royal Academy, Royal College, Guildhall, all of those. At the moment, we're still working with people in England, so that's why we tend not to work undergraduate level with Wales and Scotland. And then we've got Martin Hummel's going to be coming in to talk about his record label that he set up not that long ago, but it's made great headway already. I'm not going to steal his thunder. He's got a very interesting background of what he was doing before he set up as a music impresario, and he's a passionate fan of jazz and loves it, and he's a fantastic person to work with. So a lot of our tutors and a lot of our alumni are on his record label with projects, which is really exciting. And as I say, not going to steal the thunder, going to let him talk to us about that. So we've got many between now and the summer thinking about, as we approach the summer school, people that will really genuinely be of help to the young professional. But the other thing that we're also going to be talking about are the teaching videos that we're just about to record. And while you were doing all that work online, sort of setting things up with the marketing and really exploring that side of things, we've been looking at how to actually teach online without it being in person, but with the teaching videos. So we've been in consultation with 95 different stakeholders. So that means some music services, some heads of department music, some of the peripatetic teachers that are on our faculty, and some of our alumni who are now teaching as well. So it's been a really fantastic conversation, and it's what's really amazing, is on such low resources, because the funding in music education, as we all know, has been declined desperately over the last 10 years. 50% of the young people we work with who are playing to a very high level can't access A-level or GCSE music, and that, I mean, that's unheard of in any other subject of certainly the STEMs. So we're passionate to make sure that they can carry on playing with us. But but some of the other things that have come up is that we was talking about in sort of beginner, intermediate, advanced online course, and the advice we got was focus on the beginner, because none of us have done enough in order to get the intermediate advanced. And so there's a real snapshot of just how little jazz is going on in the schools and the music services, how keen they are to engage, but how much they need and would like to have our support. So there are going to be termly webinars for people to watch as of next academic year that support the teaching videos that we're developing. So that's been really exciting, and I think we're about ready to start shaping them now so we can start filming them. We're going to do a soft launch when we get back after Easter, with some of the partners are going to trial the videos as well, so that we can really make sure that they work. But the biggest thing that we realised was, you know, don't make hour-long videos, just make a series of 10 that fit together so people can do things incrementally. And the way we're developing them is that if you are a music educator and you want to share with whether you're teaching instrumental lessons to a group of 6, so key stage 2, 3, or whether you're running a wind band, or it doesn't have to be a jazz ensemble that you're running, it could be a wind band or a string orchestra, that you can use these resources, and they'll be 10 minutes long. So you could just do one a week as a warm up, or, you know, after the tuck shot break in the middle. Or if you are isolated and sort of you're not really getting any access to any jazz and you want to connect with us online, then the young musicians can come and study, and they will be talking to you. You will be introducing them to me, and then we will be putting together a bespoke program so they can study online, and then bring everyone together every now and again, having learnt some of the repertoire, to work with our tutors. So who would have thought a year ago? I don't think I always wanted to have that as an ambition, that we did more online, but to now be at the stage where we can actually launch it. Wow.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we've learnt all of these online skills that we kind of immediately had to start kind of gaining. They're going to continue to become in handy. It's not been a welcome favor, but in that sense of our digital skills becoming, well, our digital skills just being upskilled, essentially. It's been really helpful.
I think I'm thinking like somebody that's digital as well. Before it was, you know, when we were doing the regional work in sort of May and June, it was, well, what would we have been doing in the room with them, and how do we carry that on and emulate that online? Whereas now I actually think I'm thinking from much more from a digital perspective. And one of the things that the actual tutors on the summer school said was that the actual musicianship classes, they felt were really much more successful online than in person, because you can take take the musician to zoom in even more and to cut out all the sort of interference. They can go off for a few minutes just by muting everybody and have that real focus, no distractions in the room. Or they can actually, what you can't do often in musicianship is talk to someone and without disturbing somebody else, but now they can actually go to breakout rooms for a few minutes while others are being left. And that's whereas the things like creative leadership ensemble, where we were bringing groups together to create 60 minutes of original material as a group, which they then tour around England at the festivals and select moments in those compositions for workshops so that people can come, young musicians can come before the performance, do a little workshop that's got some of these moments and then see it in full flight. That we only managed, we met in person, we did 2 days and then lockdown, and we tried to do it online, and it was just that one we couldn't crack.
Yeah. There was some kind of real trial and error going on. I think we were working with Milton at the time as well, trying to figure out this real time and how it works. And I remember, I think one of my favorite moments, we were using a piece of software, and I think it was you and I trying to get trained up on it. And it was like a real-time software that was looping into what we were doing. And all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but your voice had dropped down an octave. And I remember you talking to me, and I was like, I don't know what you pressed. And then Zoom was just stuck with your voice down an octave. And I was like, yeah, this isn't going to work unless all of our alto players want to sound like a baritone saxophone. We've got to reconsider what we're going to do here. But
well, that's one of the things Lee Conis did. He had a pedal where he would play, and it was parallel in an octave. I really like that, actually. I thought it was quite a nice sound. It's quite a sort of a nice husky sound to the saxophone in that sort of lower register. Just wondering about whether we might share another musical extract to have a little listen. And that lovely list that we've created has disappeared from my screen. So I think I'm just going to fly impromptu wise and say, wasn't it lovely to see so many of the young women playing on that video you showed earlier on? And the change for me of how we've seen more women come and join the summer school, but also move on to really, have the leading lights now on the scene. And when we first started, we had 32 young musicians in the first summer school, and we had 30 boys and 2 girls. And I can remember I was already thinking when I was head of jazz at Trinity, I was thinking, why are there so few girls showing up? Because, I'm so proactive, and I have been since 18 on the scene and just going about my business. And I said, why are so few girls coming through the conservatoires? And then it was true when we started NYJC as well. And I realised that maybe some of the way that the music was being taught was probably off-putting, and maybe some of the culture around it. So we've worked really hard to change that and make sure that, it's a much more nurturing and welcoming and facilitating environment, so that anyone that's got a creative aspirations, because everyone's got the same ambitions, everybody wants to be the best possible musician they can, but how we become that best possible musician is a different route for each individual. So we started to work, we thought, would it be nice to work with a group of young women over a period of a year, which was supported by the Institute of Education, and that's how we set up the Creative Leadership Ensemble. And I fell upon this lovely PowerPoint, which I'm going to share with you now, of when we worked together. So I think this is 2015-ish, this story, 2013 to 2015. And this is where I'm going to share my, here we go. And just view as a enter full screen. See if I can view it now as a PowerPoint, as a slideshow. Where's it gone? Here we go. Lovely. There we go. So that was NYJC. That was in Ascot. And you can see they're dotted in there. I think there were about 6 or 7 girls. Most of them are soon to be hidden by the sight of the instruments. So, and from NYJC, Laura Jurd, she was on the first summer school in 2007. Now she's become a key tutor for NYJC. And obviously she's taken the scene by storm with the Grammy nomination and the Parliamentary Jazz Awards, Paul Hamlin Award. I think she also last year got an Ivors Award. So it was a very strong composer as well as an instrumentalist. And really, they're all part of the same muse. They're all part of the same Laura. Then we've also got Rosie Turton. Rosie Turton is who's going to be joining us on the 28th of April, and then going to do the work at the Ribble Valley. So, and Rosie's work when she was with Naraya, they became a Parliamentary Jazz Award for Newcomer of the Year. And then Alex Ridow was with us, and she speaks very highly of NYJC, and that really helped her on her journey and to acquire sort of the confidence and to find her own space. When we first met her, she was actually on the classical course of the Junior Academy, and it was gradually she worked with us at King's Place on our regional programme, and then got the confidence to apply for the summer school, and then went back to the Junior Academy after a while and said, actually, I feel ready to make the transfer. I'd actually like to be doing the junior jazz. So, and I think a lot of that was through meeting like-minded musicians, but also the support that we gave her, that sort of autonomy. And then the same with Jasmine. So Jazz is going to be joining us as well for the Ribble Valley. Fantastic drummer. And in a minute, I think we get the opportunity to hear her, because we're going to play something that a few of the tutors recorded together with me and a few of the alumni on an album that we recorded recently. Then we've got Asher, and Asher went on to become a semi-finalist this year of the BBC Young Jazz Musician of the Year, as well as getting various other awards. And then we've got Shirley next to her, who got a Parliamentary Jazz Award. She came as a mentor. Daisy, who went on to study at the Academy, and really hoping she'll come and talk to us after the summer school about, she's left the Academy now, you know, what's life got for her, what she's been doing creatively. I've seen things online. And then it was great when we actually met together in 2013 for the first summer school. We said we'd like to form this ensemble as part of it. And we also had, I don't know if you can see, here we had a tabla player who joined us as well, which was really fascinating. So they just naturally migrated together. I just happened to walk by to go to the office, and there were all the girls out of the cohort of, so we had 6 girls and 39 boys. So the ratio had changed slightly. From 30 to 2, it had gone to 29 to 6. But it was fascinating this is like during the enrolment period, they'd migrated towards each other and taken themselves off. That's how important it is for people to have that support network, you know, to feel included and recognised. And then we took them away for some weekends where we created that music I was talking about that we then toured and gigged. So here they are in Procorder, which is up in Suffolk. And then there's Laura, who came to help co-lead some of the sessions with Dee as well on saxophone. And then it was lovely to overhear the conversations and all the things they're talking about. And I think this is one of the things I've noticed when anyone is in isolation, when they're the only individual person there, they don't, you know, so for example, a girl amongst a large group or even a small group of boys, they feel other. And so often the boys will reach out and support each other if they take a solo, say, oh, that was great, but they're not so comfortable about turning to the girl to say, oh, that was great. And she hadn't got her network. I think it's changing now. But so for anybody that feels in a minority, if they're the lone person, often the others feel shy about supporting them. And that shyness really affects them. They take it personally. They don't realise that it's a shyness. They think that it's a judgment. So that's why it's really important that everybody is nurtured and supported in the same way. And then they did the Leicester Jazz Festival 2014, which was a really great gig. And I was able to declare in Leicester that while I was studying music in Leicester, that we were told we weren't allowed to study jazz. We all only studied classical music. And so it wasn't till in my 20s that I myself was able to pick up an instrument and start to play jazz, because it was forbidden. And here again is Laura and Alex playing, I think this was at King's Place. And then we went on to do the London Jazz Festival. And at this point, some of the girls had gone on to college. So it was, who's going to fill those chairs? I said, it's your band. So who would you like to fill the chairs? And then they invited 3 of the finalists from that year's BBC Young Jazz Musician of the Year. And then we went to play at the All Parliamentary Jazz Awards. Working Party had a session, and they had no bass player. And I said, who would you like to be your bass player? And they said, Dave Holland. And there he is. And what was great about it was the way that, because they felt so comfortable in the way they were working together, that they were able to focus on the music just like we all do when we're together. And because of that, they wrote music to a very high level. They played it to a very high level. So when they then invited others to join the band, they wanted to experience that challenge and that joy and that celebration. And it just gave them that sense of autonomy and ownership, that then they were on an equal footing, and off we all went. And they haven't looked back since. And so it would be really nice now, Nick, if you're still there, to share with everybody the recording. Oh yeah, we did a call out. That was interesting. Before we do share the recording, we did a call out. I just was walking into King's Place and I said, I'm just going to put a thing on my own Facebook, because I've got about 3,500 people that follow me. People are very proactive. I'm going to tag some people, and I'm just going to go, are there any girls that would like to come to King's Place just to do one day, just to try it out? And we got 75 reposts within 5 days. And it was full capacity, to the point that here we are, the room's full. All the young women came along to play, and they really enjoyed that, playfulness that they could have, and that freedom of meeting each other. And I know that a lot of them have gone on since then, and it shows in our statistics. We've got over a third now of female, just of the participants are female. And the other thing was we make sure there's a real gender balanced non-alpha pedagogy in the way that we work. And finally, that's the ratio of the tutors as well. When we first started out, only 1% of the faculty in that first summer school were female, whereas now in 2017 it was 34%, and now 3 years later it's even more balanced as well. And we make sure every project's 50-50. And so the outcome was, when three of the young people that we worked with were at different conservatoires, and they've come back to me and they've said, why have we ended up on programs where there are so few students, there are no female tutors, and we're not playing any women's music? So it shows that if you lead the way a bit, and really think about impactful ways of introducing them to what is missing, that it becomes so second nature that they themselves think, why are we now in an environment that's taking us back to it being an all-male environment where there are no women playing the brilliant music? So let's go to the other end of the spectrum, where since then we put together a 10-piece ensemble that I think it's got 6 NYJC tutors and 3 NYJC alumna. So it's a 10-piece all-female ensemble. And here's the promotional video of Interchange, just to show, if you close your eyes, you can't tell male or female, as when it comes to, they're brilliant. It's a brilliant band. So let's hear the little promo video. I think you're going to show it.
Here it is.
Yay! What's sad and joyous about it all is that we were then we launched the album last January, and then we were due to set off same time as the audition tour to do a national tour of gigs to release the album, and so we're still waiting. we did one pre-launch, just sort of a warm-up gig at Watermill Jazz. But yeah, all of the gigs that we were booked to do, fortunately, no one's cancelled, as everybody's just said, we've got to postpone you till next year. Or we've actually now, some of the gigs from 2020 are now in 2022. So we're all in the same boat together. But it was great to hear that again, and to see all those people there that were in the band all teach. So, you know, if anyone thinks, oh, cello, I'd really love to study with Shirley Smart, or accordion, I'd love to work with Karen. And the thing that mattered to me with this band was to try and get across, which we do as well at NYJC, all instruments can play improvised music, and so it's not, you know, just the regular jazz instrumentation that, you know, and we're going to do another album with another project commissioning other works, and the lineup's going to change again to make it even less standard jazz repertoire, you know, jazz instrumentation, just to sort of push the bracket. And I think that's the thing that I feel is most important about everything that we're doing at NYJC, is to remember to remind everybody that we're current and it's about today. And because jazz is 100 years old, it's very easy for people to start to think of it as a historic, you know, repertoire that's got authentic performance practice and only these instruments play and you play in this certain style. But when you're looking back to that music, it was of its time. It was current then, and so we need to carry that currency, that currentness through. So what sort of things have you been enjoying on the jazz scene that you feel is current?
Yeah, I think echoing that continuum that we're on, it's just we're assimilating everything we've heard before, but then making it our own. And yeah, there's so much on there, and this kind of mixture of culture coming into the music as well. Like people like Dapper Yusuf, like really enjoy listening to their and listening kind of to those like Middle Eastern influences coming in. I'm working on a project at the moment with a Persian singer, and that's really exciting, and trying to bring that into the kind of harmony and the knowledge I have of Western harmony, and then seeing how something can work without a natural fifth or whatever, because that's what a specific scale of that culture wouldn't use. So it's a challenge, but it's really cool. And then kind of the stuff going on, of course, over in New York, people like Ben Wendell. Was actually lockdown made it happen that we had a lesson together with him, which was really nice, and just a little bit of an inspiring kind of Friday afternoon whilst lockdown was going on.
Wow, amazing. And like you say, the thing that I think unites us all is that it's that inquisitiveness, that, you know, that empathetic inquisitiveness, seeing somebody that's making music that you think, oh, that sounds interesting, I'd love to be part of that. And then instead of going to stamp your own footprint over it, it's how can we bring our two approaches together so that we create something that is unique in itself and can only be, you know, created by the two contributions, and it's grown out of that. And I think that's the general message as we're signing off for NYJC, is that that's how we work. So if people watching, I'm sure, were thinking, well, it's great that you've talked about the sort of philosophy and had a nice reflective walk like down country lane, that we're feeling, I feel whatever medium we're going to use in the next year, 2 years, whether we're completely online again or whether we're going to be able to do a blended learning, or if eventually we're going to come out and potentially could be working all face to face. I think we're always going to now use the skills that we've developed on the internet, including engaging with people that we might not physically be able to get to because we can't be omnipresent. There's only so many regions we can work in at a time. We're quite expensive in that, you know, it's 7 to 12 youngsters per tutor, so it's not like an orchestra or something like that. So and we subsidise so much of what we do, but raising the money for that, if we were to be across the whole of England, would be difficult. So now we've got the opportunity to engage with people online through the programme we're developing. So as of September, people will be able to sign up and study with us online, and then come to sort of workshop days where the repertoire they've been learning and being supported online, they can come and then play in person. And then also that will be available to use with your own music teacher as well, so that if you know you've got 5 or 6 like-minded youngsters who want to try it out and your music teacher's feeling nervous about it and doesn't know how to really engage, well, we're kind of serving it on a plate for them so that they can sort of see how to actually lead those sessions to help them on that journey. We're going to run the summer school again, our 15th birthday next year, so it'll be a celebration of our 15th year. We haven't decided where we're going to have that next year. This year's in Repton. We're launching the dance because I think it's really important. So we're expanding the collective now so that it's not just musicians, but it's music and dance, which is great that we've said, you know, the collective, it's not an orchestra, it's a collective. And so we're going to be launching that at the summer school. And obviously COVID slightly impacting on it because we were hoping to get quite a large number of dancers to come and join us. And because we've got to be mindful, we might have to actually sort of roll it out more slowly, sort of a smaller number of people taking part in each of the sessions, rather than, you know, I've got an image of sort of bringing 50 or 60 together a day to have a good old dance and a jig and a play. But also the year after that, we're going to be launching a new program for singers as well. So keep your ears and eyes peeled, and it's going to be working as an ensemble, a vocal ensemble, to upskill and strengthen a lot of the skills that we don't get the time to focus on. We usually have an individual singer, so this way you can be making music as a vocal ensemble, and then we'll be working with 25 young singers at a time there, and that's aged between 14 and 18. So there's a lot of exciting things. Obviously our program online is going to be very diverse, so it'll be 50-50 male female composers, but also it won't, you know, it'll be some pieces that are seen as sort of jazz standards that are historically well known, and others that are new pieces, like, for example, Laura Jurd's Set Free from the Dinosaur album works beautifully. So we've asked her to do a video as well. So I don't know about you, but I can see that suddenly it's going to be our 20th birthday. It's going to whiz by because we're going to do it. I'm thinking, how did this happen? But if people would like to sign up to our newsletter to be kept informed about what we're doing, how do they do that?
Yes, so to sign up for our newsletter, which is due to go out next week, you can visit nationalyouthjazz.co.uk/sign up, and that's where you can receive our bi-monthly newsletter and also our weekly newsletter, which will tell you about the National Youth Jazz conversations, # National Youth Jazz Wednesday conversations that happen at 6 o'clock every Wednesday.
Also, we're very approachable, and if people would like to talk to us, we're both getting emails from people saying, I don't suppose you could spare half an hour. I'm really stuck with this, whatever it is, and I'd love to talk to you about it, because jazz is just so absent from what's happening at school and the curriculum and the PGCE courses and the A-level and the GCSE. There are elements, I think, if Stan Tracy was here, he would say trace elements. There are elements of jazz in there, but, you know, how can we really be authentic so that the youngsters that we work with feel that they're not, you know, that they can carry on being the musicians that they are within those contexts. But the other thing that we've noticed is, particularly with COVID, we've always made sure that we give bursaries to our young musicians, but we can see ahead now that the sort of applications have been made, there's a larger number of people asking for bursaries, understandably because of the COVID situation. And I think you found last year when you were doing the bursary side of things, it was really difficult to capture it in the usual way because of what we asked for. Might you say a few words about what happened when some of the parents, with losing their work, couldn't give us the paperwork that we were asking for?
Yeah, so we very quickly realised that the paperwork that we might ask for didn't cover the situation, because the situation was so new and is still new. Like things like tax returns or employment status and stuff were kind of evolving and changing, and you know, even being on furlough, that's still a reduced income. So you know, there's a lot of those things happening, and we were realizing that maybe the criteria that we'd ask for and the supporting documents when you apply for a bursary maybe weren't as relevant to your situation, even though that you were struggling. So we've kind of now opened it up a little bit more and just asking if you can supply us with any sort of evidence to kind of show that you've been hard hitting. It's completely anonymous, completely confidential, and the bursary board meet and discuss your applications in complete confidence. So they're never spoken about after that meeting. I think we've always had 100% success rate with the bursaries that have been applied. So yeah.
The reason that we have the bursary meeting and that we have 4 people on the board is because we get some money from funders, and they ask us to write end of year reports, and so we need to be able to say to them, yeah, we definitely spent this money on the bursaries. And so the best way to do that is to actually have a collection of NYJC representatives from the board and the management meet and do it in a formal way, so that then we can write it up and then include it in our report back to the funders, so that it's transparent, basically. But the transparency, that's where that ends, because everything that we talk about is confidential, and nobody on any of the summer schools has ever known or been told who's got the bursaries and who hasn't. Nobody knows, other than the people that are on the bursary board, and then they never mention it, they never raise it. And it's the same with, we've had quite a few young people come to the summer school who have brought with them some really challenging circumstances, either to do with their own sort of mental health, or to do with situations back at home where they might have a parent or a carer who's not, is not well, and they're worried about them, or there's been some bullying that's gone on recently. So again, we've got a really empathetic and really well-informed group of chaperones that work with the youngsters, so who know all about sort of looking after young people and the type of support that they need, including helplines and counsellors and talking to local authorities. And that's always I was gonna say unanimous then, that's always anonymous. It's a unanimous, we want to help you, and it's an anonymous who it is we're helping. And again, nobody ever knows. Loads of things have gone on behind the scenes that nobody ever knows about, because ultimately all we want is for the young musicians, to come together and experience the same thing, which is to be themselves, to explore for the week, to be in a slightly bubble situation. So it's weird that we're now in a bubble, and then we'll be going into another bubble, to just find who they are, and not, they can even shake off who everybody that they know thinks that they are. They can reinvent themselves if they want to, if they think, actually, I don't feel I'm being my true authentic self at home or whatever, and I'd like to find that and play with it a bit more. It's a really exciting week, really important, significant week, and a rare opportunity as well. So I'm really looking forward to going to Repton.
Me too.
And one of the things I was going to say to you, and I was trying to message you in the chat, but then I realised as we play stuff, was to say, is there a video of yourself that you'd like to share of any projects you're doing? And if you'd like to do it now, it'd be wonderful. And if you don't do it now, we can add it on to the video when you put it on YouTube as well.
Yeah, I haven't got anything to hand, because I'm on the wrong. Well, I'm not on the wrong laptop. I'm on the right laptop to be working with. But anything that I'm working on right now is on the other laptop. But yeah, it'd be lovely to share that at a future date.
So what I'm going to do, if everyone that's watching, I'm going to now ask it as if there is something, so that you can then edit me going, oh, we're going to sign off now with whatever it is you'd like to share with us.
Here we go.
So talking of here we go, we said we were going to talk for an hour. We didn't think we would manage that, but we've managed an hour and a half.
I knew we'd manage that.
There's just so much happening, and it's so nice to talk about it all as well. So even though we haven't sat next to each other for over a year, we've worked 3 days a week, met every morning at 9 o'clock, signed off at the end of it all. So I'm looking forward to seeing you as usual online, 9 o'clock Monday morning. But I think it would be really lovely to hand over to you to sign off. And as you sign off, if there's any message that you want to send out to the young people that we work with.
Yeah, definitely. And I think just first of all, just a massive thanks to you, Issie. I mean, it's been a year of just unbelievable things happening, and you've just been that rock all the way through it for NYJC, just keeping it going. And I think there's so many people who appreciate that. All the messages we got from the summer school, it's just a reflection of the work and the enthusiasm that you've had for it.
Oh, wow. I've got goosebumps.
That's
wonderful.
It's really special, and NYJC really are appreciative, and I know that is definitely going on. But yeah, a message to everyone else is just, we're nearly there now, and thanks so much for everyone's support. throughout this whole kind of experience that we've all been on together and this journey that we've been on together. The support of everyone's understanding that things are moving and changing and things are uncertain, and audition tours moving and being cancelled and then being moved online, and then the financial support that everyone's been giving us as well. We really do appreciate it, because we get to see that how the experience of NYJC is with the young musicians, and how they are still getting the most from it.
It was amazing when we did when we asked everybody to fill in an evaluation form, and I couldn't believe how high the score was of how much they enjoyed the summer school and would come back again. It was not far off as if we did it in person. That was, for me, staggering, and it just shows what an amazing team we all were and how incredible the tutors were. And the first thing I realised, the lesson for me then, was, as we were putting it all in place, there was the best thing that I could do was to really listen, because there were people that were much more experienced in working with the online and the software and all that side of things, and to just make space for me to actually just listen to the sort of ideas people had got, rather than just charging in and going, well, I think we're going to do it this way, because it was such a significant change. If the youngsters that we want to support, we are running a little bit low on, we're okay, but the bursary fund is just a little bit depleted, and we could do with some help, especially if with parents being self-employed, not getting much work, or like furloughed, made redundant. So we know that from the application we're going to get more bursary applications than normal. So how might people watching support what we do?
So to support NYJC in its commitment to making our work accessible to all young musicians, no matter what the financial background, please head to nationalyouthjazz.co.uk/donate.
So I'm going to sign off now, because of the fact this is on behalf of all of NYJC as well. You've been an amazing person this year as well, and I know you've had so much contact with people. You've been the first go-to, so that sort of interaction has been going on. A lot of it none of us have seen or been party to. You've managed everything so beautifully. There's such great fondness. Everybody's constantly expressing their fondness and appreciation, and I know that everybody, knowing that it's your birthday tomorrow, will be wishing you the heartiest of happy birthdays. And we're really looking forward to hearing next Wednesday what you did for your birthday to celebrate, because I know you'll be as inventive about a lockdown birthday as you are about everything else. So have a really wonderful day tomorrow. Look forward to seeing everybody next week with Pete Ind. We'll be inviting some young people to join us for that conversation as well. But as we sign off, happy birthday.
Thank you very much. See you all next week, everybody.
Bye.